Hi everyone, Beck here from becdtransformation. Just a quick intro to this video, which was taken live with one of my beautiful clients, Toni, who has been coming to me for access bars since she's a multi-pass client, so she buys 3 visits up front and gets a 4th one free. She's been coming since the 13th of August, 2022. And she's just going to share her journey of what's changed for her with the access bars. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it informative. And if you do suffer anxiety or depression or multiple physical illness, just know that the access bars, a gentle touch therapy of 32 points on the head that we lightly touch, helps to release a lot of what's trapped in the body and trapped in the mind. It gives you much more clarity. It gives you a lot more joy and a lot more happiness, and it clears the brain fog. So don't let me hold you up. Here's Toni right now to share with you her own personal journey. Thanks so much for tuning in, and the website will be down below this video so you can book yourself an appointment if you feel it would help you. I'm on the Sunshine Coast in Pacific Paradise, and I'll see you soon. Have a great day. Bye. Hi everyone, Beck here. So here's my special guest. I'd like to introduce Toni to you. So Toni's been coming for access bars for months now. Yeah. 4 multi-passes.
Yeah.
We started off weekly.
Yeah, we started weekly.
And now you're fortnightly? Yeah. So Toni, I was just thinking back to when I first met you, and your mum, the way you kind of started coming was your mum actually gifted you a seated Indian head massage.
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
That's right. And then you were coming for that for a little bit, and then you had some kahuna, and I finally convinced you that access bars might be able to help.
Yep, absolutely. So I got vertigo as well, and I said to Beck, "Oh, is there anything you can do for vertigo?" And I think it was just, in the end, the universe kept sort of like, "Excuse me, Toni, can you do something about this?" And then I was always, no, and I was so closed off to anything. I just thought, there's just got to be something wrong. There's got to be something wrong. And it didn't matter how many doctors I went to or whatever. Nothing ever was fixing it. And I thought, well, I was so worried about my head being cracked open because I already had anxiety, such bad anxiety.
Yeah. So can I take you back to that when we met? Can you sort of, for anyone that's watching, sort of give them an idea of, what that meant? Yeah. And how it was for you?
Well, the anxiety was so debilitating, and I'd been sick on and off for so long. Like the year before, I'd got shingles, and I got rhinovirus and the flu, and then I got COVID, and then the vertigo. Like, it was all within months of boom, 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 boom. And I was also going through a divorce. It's fairly amicable, so it wasn't. So that on top of everything else, I was just so sick, and my anxiety was just horrendously debilitating. I started a new job, so it was all this shit. It was like piles of shit, and the depth of the shit just varied. But I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't drive. Well, the vertigo stopped me even from driving locally, but I couldn't never drive on a highway. I was just so
afraid.
Yeah. I was afraid of everything.
The fear was shocking, wasn't
it? The fear was just horrendous. And then, I felt so alone, and so scared because, I'd been married a long time. So I was terrified of what is this going to be like on my own. I'm on my own. I'd never been alone. I'd left home and then, moved in with my ex-husband, and then we got married like several years later. But I was just terrified. What's this going to look like? And then on top of always having this crippling anxiety, and that's when the depression hit. And I was bedridden for weeks and weeks and weeks. Was very, very fortunate I could work from home, so I never sort of lost my job, but I just couldn't get out of bed. There was often weeks where I just drag myself out of bed, work, and then go straight back to bed. Like, it was
It's
awful.
no life, is it?
No, I had not a life at all.
And so before we get into the bars and what the multi-passes have done for you, let's fast forward to today.
Oh, today.
Let's talk about who you are and what you're doing today. You just drove to Northgate and back.
Yeah. So I had to take, so twice this week I've driven to Brisbane, had to go to work, and then I took my nephew home. So
what's that like for you when you think of how you were, where you couldn't even drive locally, the fear was so great and overwhelming, to now driving to Brisbane and back twice in 1 week?
It's just so liberating. Like, it's so... it's like it's opening up a world to me. It's like, oh my God, where can I go next? And what can I do next? And now I'm looking at, what's next? Instead of before I was like hanging on for grim death, like, what's going to be next? Or something else is going to hit me, And now it's like, what's next?
You have
what's happening? Yeah. I'm excited about stuff and to see what's going to happen next.
Yeah. And excited about your life.
Yeah, excited about my life.
I mean, the change is mind-blowing.
Yes.
I've seen it. I've been privileged and honoured enough to be part of your journey.
Yes.
So what's it like for your family looking in on you now, knowing what you were like?
Yep.
It must blow them away.
Yeah. Well, like, my mum says to me, I'm getting my Toni. Toni's coming back to me and all that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I suppose because my family live in Brisbane, they don't see me quite so much. But I've got some really, really close friends that I think they've really noticed when I drove to Brisbane on Tuesday, because I often could not go to any meetings in Brisbane. So I'd always have to Zoom in, and the guilt, I'd feel like shit. And, so my co-workers, when I walked in on Tuesday, they said, how'd you get here? Because they'd suggested I catch a train.
Right.
And I said, I drove. And everyone was like, oh! And then people were like, yeah! And people were hugging me and couldn't believe that I'd driven there. And, it was just unreal. And people were saying to me, like, you've changed so much. They've really, really noticed.
Yeah.
Like, one of the managers there was like going to me, oh my God, Toni, next minute you're going to be driving to the Gold Coast, or like they could not.
Wow.
They've really, really noticed the change.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's
Isn't
probably
it great
because
to get that feedback too.
Yeah, well, you spend a lot of time with your co-workers, even though we work remotely. We spend a lot of time online, so you see each other a lot. Yeah.
So, and you've gotten really physically active too, which you never would have when I first met you.
No. I'm still rolly. But not as rolly. Not as rolly. I don't know. I was so resistant,
to change.
Yeah. I was so resistant.
I'm getting a bit emotional. Such a beautiful story.
I was so
Thank you so much for
terrified. Sharing. I was always, and I'd said this before, hanging on, like, oh my God, something bad's going to happen. And if I leave the house, it's going to be bad. Or if I go to this class of exercising, people are going to judge me. Or, even just walking the dogs, it would be like, I'll fall, or I'll, I was just terrified of everything.
Yeah.
And now, I go to Zumba and walk the dogs, and I'm just more active in all areas,
You're way more balanced.
Yeah, way
really
more balanced.
Bringing balance into your life. Yeah.
And instead of before, when my ex-husband first left, I sort of tried to go out and be social, and I'd be like, I'm just going to keep, thundering through, and I'm going to have the best life ever. I was just so desperately chasing it as well. Now I just realise the balance. Instead of going out to every single thing that I can possibly go out to once I was, before I got really sick, I now go, all right, well, I'll go out and I'll see some friends and I'll have a lunch or whatever, but I'm okay to relax. It's okay if I sit down, or it's okay if I have a nap. You're not
judging you anymore.
Yeah, I'm not judging myself. Yeah. Whereas before I thought, oh, you're so lazy, you're so, you know. Now I'm not judging that. I'm going, and I've got so much more balance, you know. Do this sort, you know, clean this, do that. But, oh, well, if I want to take a nap this afternoon and read a book for an hour, that's okay too.
Yeah.
You know, whereas I was chasing, you know, the anxiety too, I suppose, keeps you on that little wheel, the hamster wheel, you know.
Yeah, hamster wheel of emotion.
Yeah, it was.
How much fun.
Yeah. And I suppose with the depression too, all the anxiety, as soon as the anxiety would, you know, it'd lift a little bit and I'd be like, it would always be there like, oh, and then it would go up and then come down. I'd be like, okay, I'm okay now. And then it'd go up again. And now it's sort of like, it may spike up, but I'm like, I'm okay. I've got this. Like, you know, and I sort of think now and go, oh, have I been sleeping? How many coffees did I have? Oh, okay, I've had 3 coffees. Yeah, okay, well, there it is. Whereas
so
before,
you're self-analysing, able to step back, become the observer of what's going on for you, and then bring some calmness to it and work out what's causing it, basically.
Yeah.
Whereas before, there was none of that.
No.
Yeah.
That's probably the better way to say it.
Oh, well, I'm just summarising.
But I used to say to you, you know, like there was a monkey in my head with the cymbals and a chick with maracas, and then like there was someone talking the whole time.
Noisy.
There was music going. I don't know where that came from. And just like, it was just like a million things going on in my head. And now, you know, there's still the monkey and whatever, but I can be like, compartmentalise it. And instead of, you know, if something goes wrong, me going, oh, of course it's fucking going wrong, you know, like I go, oh, no, well, what's this trying to tell me now, you know, like, you know, you might have a tickly throat and you go, oh, okay, well, maybe I need a bit of rest, maybe I need to be nourishing myself better, maybe I need to be drinking some water, instead of it being, oh, well, of course it's happening to me, you know, like.
Victim.
Yeah, the victim, yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly right.
So you're in a seat of responsibility now.
Yeah.
You're not the victim anymore in your life. Yeah.
No.
Awesome.
And not I'm responsible for all this stuff. And then, you know, looking through things and going, right, well, I don't need that and I don't need that, you know, can get rid of some of that guilt.
Yes.
That you're constantly feeling, you know, a bit of mum guilt. A bit of, you know, sibling guilt, friendship guilt, you know. And I blamed myself for the entire breakdown of our marriage. Totally my fault, wasn't it? But of course you look at it and go, oh, well, you know. You
can see both sides.
You can see both sides now, whereas before I was completely the victim. Completely. You know, oh, I didn't do this and I didn't do that and he's wrong and I was right and no, you know, and now you can step back and look at it and go, well, we both, you can see where things possibly had gone wrong and how moving forward you can have better relationships, all types of relationships.
I think that's the most magical thing I've noticed about you in your evolution and your development is you can now see that everything has worked together to create the you are today, and contributed, and you've learned so much about yourself in the journey and the heartache. You've actually, I think, kudos to you. You've actually gone, wow, I'm choosing something different now. I'm making different choices. And had this not happened, I would have been in my comfort zone and lived the rest of my life in my comfort zone. I think you've even said that to me.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, absolutely. I would never have changed a thing if my marriage had not, I don't want to use the word failed, it was never a failure. If it had not ended.
It's all a learning, isn't it?
Yeah, I would never have learnt all this stuff. And don't get me wrong, when we were married, I consistently got sick with many things as well. And, you know, there's probably bits in my childhood which weren't fantastic, along with everyone else. But I was always going, oh, well, I shouldn't be upset. I was never sitting in it, you know, like.
You never examined it, had a look at it.
No, I never acknowledged, okay, well, that parts of your childhood were pretty shit. You know, actually process that and acknowledge it. No one's fault. No one has to be at fault, but actually accept it and deal with it and move on. Instead, I was like always pushing everything down and not, not clearing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm.
So, coming to the bars
Yeah.
and me trying to explain to you what they could do for you and how it could change things for you. Looking back, one, let's just get it out the way. Are you glad you did commit to the bars and commit to yourself, really? That's what you did.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah.
I had been to therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists for years. Years I'd spent in talk therapy, which did zero next to nothing. I'd go for a little while and it'd fix it, and I'd get back to that baseline of terror, but that was my normal, and so I don't know how this works.
I know,
but it does.
Yes, yeah.
It just calms you down.
Yeah, it
like
does.
It just. Don't get me wrong, I get points of anxiety. There's still, I get in a lift and go, ooh, what's happening? Or, stuff. It still takes a long time for your brain to sort of retrain, but you just feel so much lighter straight away. That first session
made a difference, didn't it? Yeah.
I bawled, like you saw me, scream crying this whole session. And that...
So much release.
Well, that... was really consistent for a while. And now it's funny because I lay there and
You look forward to it now.
Yeah, I love it. And then I'll feel like a fluff of air or something happens. I can feel it go, and then I'll go to you, ooh, did you feel it when you did this bit?
I know, we always talk about it, don't we? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you go, oh, yeah, I felt that go then. And,
Yeah.
It's
so
so
just
much different.
quickly, the bars are 32 points on the head, 16 on either side. We lightly touch them. They're just points of energy, and they release whatever doesn't belong to us. They release all our patterns, our programs, the way we've been trained to think in our family of origin, in school, in university, in society in general. And once we start to release this stuff that doesn't belong to us, we become more our natural selves.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because this is more closer to who you really are.
Yeah.
You're not that anxiety. You're not that fear.
No.
You're not that illness.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I was always trying to suppress the crazy. Like you can see I'm a very animated person. Like I'm loud and I'm fun and I'm spontaneous and blah. And I was always trying to suppress that, and that added to the anxiety. And now I embrace that and just go, well, I'm not full crazy all the time. But I also acknowledge when I have to, cocoon and
Cocoon the crazy.
cocoon the crazy and recharge the crazy.
Right.
Like I can't be crazy all the time. So whereas before I was always suppressing it, and then when I needed to recharge, I'd be like, oh, you're such a lazy bitch. So now I'm like, okay, it's okay to be a bit crazy, like energetic, well, I call it the crazy, but, it's okay to be fully myself. And when I need to recharge, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Whereas...
You've let go of judging you.
Yes. And I never had that clarity.
Magic. Yeah, I think that's the biggest magic I got from bars is I stopped judging me, which meant I stopped judging everyone else as well.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. You stop judging people.
It just frees you up.
Yeah.
To just be you. And then the people that embrace you as you really are show up.
Yes. Yeah. And it's the clarity.
Yes.
It clears a lot of stuff up.
Clears the brain fog, doesn't it? Yeah.
Clears so much fog, and it just, I don't know, like when we were talking about just judging people, I was always so focused on people liking me and me liking everyone, and now I realise you just don't like everyone. Not everyone's your cup of tea. You can be polite and be civil to everyone, but you don't have to be everyone's friend, and they don't have to be your friend.
Yeah.
Whereas before I was always like, oh, please love me. Everyone love me. I'll love everyone if you love me.
Desperate need for love and approval.
Yeah.
People pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now my approval comes from me and my really special people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So as far as inner happiness, just in summary, how would you describe yourself as where you were when I met you to where you are now?
It like chalk and cheese. Like it's just completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, like you were talking about bars, and there is the bars, definitely, but it's also shown me who my important people are and brought, like you were saying, I think you were saying...
your vibration,
your
your frequency attracts your tribe. Also, the great thing that I admire about you is you have this ability to see yourself in situations, to become your observer, and then note. So you may have an episode, but then you become the observer of it, and you actually, as you were saying, you actually analyze it, and then you have actually developed skill sets and self-talk, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely.
To bring yourself through it.
Yes.
Like the example of the room and the door being closed and you just saying to people, well, what's behind the door, which relieves the anxiety of it.
It does.
So you've developed these skill sets because now you have the clarity to realise there's nothing actually wrong with you. This is just a pattern that you're working through.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh,
would you
absolutely.
agree?
Yeah. Like I used to get very distracted easily, and then because I'd want to know, what's in that cupboard, what's in that box, or whatever, because I'm just curious. I want to know. That would distract me so much that my anxiety would just boil, and I'd be like, oh, I gotta know, and then so I can't concentrate on what those people are talking about. But as you said, I just say to them, what's in the box? And most people will be like, oh, yeah, well, this is, And I sometimes I apologise and say, sorry, I was very curious and I had to know before I could focus. And by just owning it, owning all the stuff. Yeah. It's just, and by clearing my brain.
Yeah. And people you're finding are quite happy to work with you on that level and tell you what's in the box and tell you what's behind the door.
Yeah. People will just tell you, or if I'm fidgeting or whatever, people are fine with it,
So people don't judge us as much as we think they do. We judge us.
Yep.
And then we judge them thinking they're judging us, but it's us judging us.
Yeah. It's us.
Actually.
Yeah. And it's funny how... Now, because you were almost bashing me over the head saying, get here, I can help you, but I can't help you unless you let me help you. It's funny now when I look around at people and I'll be having conversations, I think, oh, there's something that can help you, and I say it to them, but I realise
it's hard to...
you can't help everyone.
Until they're ready.
Until they're ready. Yeah. So...
I think I bashed you over the head, as you said. Was a dog with a bone, because at least we knew each other a little bit from the massage and stuff that you did come for. I felt like, and my longing was to see you free, actually, because I knew what was hiding inside you, how much fun was hiding inside you. Yeah. And only because I had been trapped myself before I discovered the access bars. So, and I knew what they did for me, and really my heart was just, I just wanted you to be free. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you finally got on the table.
So glad.
Yeah.
Like because often I just come now and go to sleep. But then something will happen and I'll wake up and I'll think, oh, there we go, something's gone, But, and just even dreams are better, and like, I'm not sure whether other people have noticed, like people who, like my sons, because they're oblivious to anything, or my ex-husband or whatever, but I've noticed, like, if I am going at him and triggered, then I can then step back and say, like, then I can apologise and go, that triggered me because of this, and he goes, oh, okay, righto, well, sorry, or things that he doesn't upset me as much, because I'm like, that part's over, you're moving on.
Awesome.
And so it doesn't upset me as much.
Yeah.
Or like, when you're having fights with your sisters or whatever, that's pretty that's what sisters do, but it doesn't trigger me
the way it used to.
Before I'd be a screaming mess or whatever, and now I'm like, oh, it's okay, because we're all going through stuff.
Yes.
And we don't realise how that affects other people.
Yes. Yeah.
So we all are going through our own stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So, we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time and your willingness to share your story.
I could talk about bars all day. It just has absolutely changed my life.
That's what I was going to say. Is there anything for anyone that's watching that really suffers huge anxiety, that's really struggling in their life? Yeah. Really struggling in their relationships, you know, really struggling to find themselves, to love themselves, to be happy? Can I turn it to you?
And I think it's committing to it, like just letting things go a little bit. Like I was trying to control so much stuff. I needed to just go and give into the process. But I think the multi-passes are probably, you sort of got to come a few times. Like the first few times is mind-blowing. But until you continuously sort of come.
Yeah, because it's multi-layered.
Yes. You sort of get through the one bit and then something will trigger it again, and you've got to, you realise that you've got to, there's lots of work you've got to do underneath as well. So, I think, and even though you're terrified, give it a go. Give it a crack.
Because I know first up when you came with the multi-pass, it was a huge outlay for you. You were going through so much.
Yep.
For you to actually, knowing you from previous, for you to spend that on your health and well-being was a massive turn.
Oh, yeah.
A massive commitment to you.
Yep.
Because you never used to do that.
Oh, no. And I was wasting so much money on, you know, bloody...
Magazines
and trying all this different crap and vitamins and nutritionists and... kept thinking something's wrong with me. I was wasting so much money on that stuff when it was really, I needed to clear here. Yeah. And the only way to do that was through bars. Yeah. That's the only thing that's ever fixed it.
Awesome.
Or like assisted it. I don't know if it'll ever be fully gone, but I now know through bars and through Beck that any challenge I face, I can do it. I can do it. Yes. That I've got my back. I can trust myself.
Yes.
And that's from bars and Beck.
So anyone thinking about, oh, gee, should I spend that money? What would you say to them? Because the multi-pass, let me tell you, is 4 visits. You pay for 3 up front and your 4th one is free. For me, that's more than the money. It's actually you making an emotional and mental commitment to yourself to actually spend that money and that time to help yourself, to heal, on the road to recovery and wellness.
Yeah, like you think, oh, you know, do I really want to spend this money and blah, blah. But as I said, you spend more money longer term on crap that's not working, that's not helping. It may be putting a Band-Aid on it maybe, or it may help with some of the symptoms, but it's not actually, healing it.
At the core level, at the deep level.
Yeah.
And it's painless, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a gentle touch therapy.
Yeah, I was terrified that it was going to hurt or I was going to crack my brain open and make my anxiety a billion times worse. But I was at that point where I just thought, it can't get worse than this. It can honestly not get any worse than this.
Awesome. And you've committed hugely. So you've done 4 multi-passes.
Yes.
So that is $1,200.
Yeah.
That's a huge commitment.
Yeah.
Has it been worth it?
I pay it over.
She pays it over time.
I don't pay it all at once. Yeah, absolutely worth it. Absolutely, yeah.
From where you started to where you are now.
Oh, yeah, from where I started to now is just, to me, I'm unrecognisable to what I was.
Absolutely,
you know.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, like now I'm up, ready and happy to just find out what's going to happen next.
And engage in life.
Whereas before I was terrified of where life was going to go. I was just like, you know.
You're in a horror movie.
Yeah. I was just holding on. I was just, my head was just above water and I was thinking one more shit thing happens and I do not know how I'm going to cope. And now I'm like, if something shit happens, something's trying to tell me and I know that I can cope and I'll work through it. Yeah. And I'm going to be okay. Like, awesome. I've got those skills now to work through stuff. Yeah.
Oh, so good. Well, thank you so much for your time. High five, baby. So if you want to know more about bars, hop on my website, becdtransformation.com. There is a page /accessbars.html. You can find it through the main page under services. So thanks again, Toni.
Do yourself a favour.
For your time. And I hope this helps a lot of people out there that are really struggling and have been struggling for years to know that there is a gentle touch therapy that can help them and will help them if they're willing to commit to it, and not to expect miracles in one visit.
Oh, no. And mine was like, I'd suffered anxiety since I was 15 years old. That's when my first panic attack happened. So it wasn't going to get cured overnight, and it's still not cured. I've still got lots of work to do, but I know I've got those skills now by coming to Bec.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're ongoing, aren't we? We're creating a brand new life for you.
Awesome.
So thanks everyone for joining in, and we'll catch you another time. Have a great day. All that information's on my website. Bye for now.
Bye.
You've heard Toni's amazing experience with healing with the Access Bars. And as I said, 13th of August was when she committed to her first ever multipass. She has done 4 since then. Today is now the 22nd of January 2023. So from 2022 in August to January 2023, you can see how amazing the change has been. What if you could have a change like that? What if someone you love and care about could have a change like that? And I've had amazing results with bars myself for 30 years of clinical depression, irritable bowel syndrome, and fibromyalgia. If you feel you can benefit from this beautiful, gentle touch therapy, energy healing, or your friends can benefit or your family can benefit, please do share this video with them. I'd love to be able to help them. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day. Bye.